Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales, to this enchanted journey beneath the shimmering canopy of the whispering woods. Tonight, as ancient secrets whisper through rustling leaves and moonbeams, reveal hidden magic. Let yourself be carried away on a mystical adventure where light battles darkness and every step unveils wonder. Before you begin, kindly set your mobile devices aside and let the soothing sounds guide you into a peaceful slumber. Get comfortable. Close your eyes and allow the magic of the night to lull you into sweet dreams. Lyria pressed forward beneath the towering, ancient trees of the whispering woods, each step accompanied by the soft crunch of fallen leaves and the distant murmur of magic in the air. The forest, alive with secrets and old stories, shimmered with ethereal light that danced through the canopy. Patches of luminous moss glowed underfoot, and between the gnarled branches, faint symbols pulsed as if to guide her path. Just hours earlier, as a sudden downpour had blurred the familiar edges of her village, Lyria had noticed a series of glowing runes etched into the bark of a venerable oak. Their pattern seemed to call her name, igniting a spark of wonder and a deep, unsettling urgency. With the storm now a fading memory, she trusted that these runes were not a mere trick of weather, but a summons toward an unknown destiny. As she rounded a bend in a mossy trail, a small, impish figure flitted into view. The sprite, Pip, hovered in midair with delicate gossamer wings that caught glints of silver light. Pip's eyes twinkled with mischief and wisdom beyond his diminutive size. "Lyria," he whispered in a voice that sounded like wind over pebbles, "the forest has long awaited your arrival. There is more to your bloodline than you know, and tonight, the ancient magic stirs." Lyria's heart quickened. She had always felt a quiet pull toward the mysteries of the woods, a feeling now affirmed by this unexpected companion. "I don't understand," she murmured, glancing around as if expecting the trees themselves to answer. "Who am I meant to be?" Pip's smile was enigmatic. "In time you shall see. But first, you must seek the guidance of the one who holds the lore of ages past. Follow me." The sprite led her along winding paths where droplets of rain still clung to ferns and spider webs, catching the light like tiny crystals. The forest seemed to come alive around them, a chorus of rustling leaves, murmuring streams, and distant echoes that hinted at the presence of unseen beings. It wasn't long before they reached a clearing, bathed in the silver glow of a high, full moon. There, beneath an ancient stone arch overtaken by ivy, stood a figure draped in a flowing cloak of midnight blue. The old wizard's eyes, deep and knowing, met Lyria's with a warmth that belied his austere exterior. His long white beard cascaded over his chest, and the symbols of forgotten lore were embroidered along the edges of his robe. "I have been expecting you," he intoned softly, his voice resonating like a chant. "The threads of fate have intertwined us for a purpose that stretches beyond this fleeting moment." Lyria felt both reverence and trepidation. "Who are you?" she asked, the words barely audible over the nocturnal symphony of the woods. The wizard inclined his head. "I am Eldric, keeper of ancient lore and guardian of secrets. The runes that called you forth are remnants of a prophecy, a tale of light battling darkness, of a relic hidden in the ruins of a long forgotten castle. It is said that only one of true heart can unlock its power, and that one is you." Pip buzzed near Lyria's ear, adding, "The path ahead is fraught with challenges, dear one. The forest tests those who wander its depths. Trust in your inner light and let your heart guide you." With these words echoing in her mind, Lyria felt a newfound resolve. The wizard drew forth an ancient map, its inked lines and symbols moving subtly as if alive with the memory of 1,000 journeys. "Our first destination lies beyond the enchanted meadow," Eldric explained. "There, in the glow of dusk, the boundary between our world and the realm of Fey blurs. It is a place where you will find both answers and further questions." Their journey led them through a labyrinth of towering trees and hidden glens. As they neared the edge of the enchanted meadow, the landscape transformed dramatically. The air grew warm and fragrant with the scent of blooming wildflowers, and gentle luminescence emanated from clusters of bioluminescent blossoms. The meadow, vast and surreal, was strewn with dew-laden grass that sparkled like a field of stars. Here, time itself seemed to slow, and the boundaries between reality and dream merged. in the midst of the meadow, a circle of ancient stone pillars stood sentinel, each etched with runes that pulsed in rhythmic harmony with the beating of Lyria's heart. As they approached, the stones whispered faint incantations that resonated deep within her soul. Shadows danced at the edges of her vision, and for a fleeting moment, she caught a glimpse of figures moving gracefully in the periphery. Trickster Fae with laughter like wind chimes. Eldrick gestured for silence. In this sacred space, listen to the language of the earth. The stones, the wind, and the soft murmur of the Fae. They speak in a tongue older than time. Lyria closed her eyes and attuned herself to the myriad voices of nature. In the rustle of the grass, she discerned a gentle hymn of welcome. In the cool night breeze, a reminder of ancient pacts made under starlight. Each sound was a note in a symphony that celebrated renewal and the inexorable march of destiny. As the night deepened, an unexpected event unfolded. One of the stone pillars began to glow with a fierce, azure light, its runes pulsing with renewed vigor. A pathway, previously hidden among the wildflowers, unfurled before them. A shimmering trail that led toward the dark silhouette of towering mountains. Eldrick's eyes sparkled with a mixture of caution and anticipation. The path to the forgotten ruins begins in the shadowed peaks. There, the relic awaits, and with it, the key to restoring balance to our land. Their trek into the mountains was steeped in both physical challenge and mystical wonder. The trail, etched into the rugged terrain, twisted along narrow ridges and through deep, echoing canyons. Here, the magic of the land was palpable. The very rocks seemed imbued with ancient power. Along the way, Lyria and her companions encountered natural obstacles. A sudden avalanche of shimmering rock shards, mysterious mists that obscured their vision, and chasms that yawned like the mouths of long-forgotten beasts. During one arduous climb, when the wind howled and the earth trembled beneath their feet, Lyria found herself alone for a brief, heart-stopping moment. The world around her was a cacophony of crashing stones and roaring winds. In that isolation, a soft, almost imperceptible melody reached her ears, a lullaby carried by the wind. It was as though the mountain itself was comforting her, urging her to trust in the strength that lay dormant within. Reunited with Pip and Eldrick at a narrow ledge, Lyria shared the melody with them. Pip's eyes widened in recognition. "That song," he murmured, "is the hymn of the ancient guardians, a reminder that even in the heart of the storm, hope endures." Bolstered by the mountain's secret promise, the trio pressed on. At the break of dawn, as the first light revealed the snowy peaks and rugged valleys below, they arrived at the entrance of the forgotten ruins. The structure, once a majestic castle, now lay in crumbling splendor. Ivy and wildflowers claimed its stone walls, and the echoes of lost voices reverberated in the hollowed corridors. Within the ruins, time itself seemed to warp. The halls were filled with relics of a bygone era. Shattered statues of heroic figures, faded tapestries depicting legendary battles, and walls adorned with cryptic symbols. Here, the air was thick with the weight of memory and magic, a palpable reminder of the castle's glorious past and the secrets it guarded. As they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, a sudden chill swept through the hall, extinguishing the faint light that had guided them. In the ensuing darkness, an ominous presence stirred. A vengeful sorcerer, exiled long ago, whose malice had seeped into the very stones of the castle. His spirit, a dark and twisted echo of the man he once was, emerged from the shadows with eyes burning like coals. "So, the foretold child dares to trespass in my domain," the sorcerer hissed, his voice a venomous blend of sorrow and wrath. "You, who carry the spark of ancient magic, shall serve as a reminder of the debts long owed." Lyria's pulse raced, and for a moment, the overwhelming aura of dread threatened to engulf her. But in that critical instant, the memories of the forests whispered encouragement, and the mountain's secret lullaby surged within her. Clutching the pendant that Eldrick had given her, a small, intricately carved talisman that pulsed with a gentle inner light, she summoned the courage to face the dark force. "I am more than the sum of my fears," she declared, her voice steady even as the shadows loomed. "I carry the legacy of the light that outshines even the darkest curse." The sorcerer's laughter, cold and brittle, filled the corridor. "Brave words, child, but the magic you wield is but a spark against the eternal night. With a swift, twisting motion, he extended his hand, unleashing a torrent of shadowy energy that slithered toward her like living darkness. In response, the pendant blazed with an incandescent brilliance. A beam of pure, radiant light erupted from it, intersecting the oncoming shadows in a dazzling display of power. For a suspended moment, the ruins were illuminated by a battle of elemental forces, light clashing with darkness in a spectacle that defied mortal understanding. Pip darted around, his delicate wings stirring the stagnant air, while Eldrick began to chant in an archaic tongue. The wizard's voice, echoing with the weight of centuries, imbued the light with ancient incantations, weaving a protective barrier around Lyria. The sorcerer's energy recoiled, hissing like steam on hot stone. "You may have ignited the spark," the sorcerer growled, his form shifting and distorting. "But you cannot quell the night that dwells within me." His eyes, filled with a sorrow as deep as his malice, flared with renewed intensity. With a surge of malevolent power, he summoned spectral chains of darkness that whipped toward Lyria, intent on binding her magic and her will. As the chains drew near, Lyria felt the full weight of her destiny pressing upon her shoulders. The faces of those who had come before, her ancestors whose memories were etched in the ancient runes, seemed to appear before her in silent benediction. In that sacred moment, she understood that her true strength lay not solely in the pendant's light, but in her ability to embrace her own inner radiance. Stepping forward with unwavering resolve, she spread her arms as if to welcome the tempest. "I claim the legacy of my blood," she proclaimed, her voice resonating through the crumbling hall. "In the wake of despair, I am the calm, and in the heart of darkness, I am the light." At her declaration, the pendant's glow intensified, filling the corridor with waves of healing luminescence. The spectral chains disintegrated as if caught in a fierce gust of wind, their dark essence scattering like ashes in the morning sun. The sorcerer's incantation faltered, his energy wavering under the force of pure determination and love. For what seemed like an eternity, the battle between light and darkness raged. Eldric's chants merged with the quiet, resolute beat of Lyria's heart, and Pip's tiny form darted about, sprinkling glimmers of fairy dust that sparkled like stars. Slowly, the oppressive aura of the sorcerer began to ebb, and the ancient ruins seemed to exhale a long-held breath. Yet, even as the dark power receded, the sorcerer's presence lingered like a shadow at the edge of vision, a reminder that darkness is rarely vanquished in one fell sweep. His eyes, now dim and heavy with defeat, conveyed both malice and regret. "This is not the end," he rasped, his voice barely more than a whisper. "For the night always returns." Lyria, still trembling from the encounter, stepped forward and knelt by the spot where the sorcerer had been. In the lingering silence, the castle walls themselves seemed to murmur with ancient wisdom. The relic, the key to restoring balance, had long been hidden here, and its power, intertwined with the legacy of the light, now beckoned her. Carefully, she reached out to a stone pedestal set against the far wall. Intricate carvings, worn smooth by time, depicted the eternal cycle of night, giving way to dawn. Resting atop the pedestal was a small, crystalline orb that pulsed with an inner fire, a heartbeat of the very magic that sustained the realm. As her fingers brushed the cool surface of the orb, visions flooded her mind. Images of forgotten battles, of ancestors who had once wielded the power of both creation and destruction, and of the promise that even in the darkest hour, hope endures. Eldric stepped beside her, his voice reverent. "This orb holds the essence of the ancient guardians. It is a beacon of the light that can heal the wounds of our world. But it will only reveal its full power to one who has truly embraced the duality of strength and vulnerability." The orb pulsed in response to Lyria's touch, and for a moment, the ruined hall was bathed in a cascade of rainbow hues. In that mesmerizing display, she sensed that her journey was far from over. The relic was not just a tool to dispel the sorcerer's darkness. It was a living symbol of the delicate balance between light and shadow, chaos and order. A sudden tremor rippled through the floor, and the ancient stones seemed to vibrate with renewed energy. From the depths of the castle, a hidden passage began to open, its maw yawning like the entrance to a forgotten realm. The air that flowed from the opening was cool and crisp, carrying with it the faint scent of salt and distant memories of the sea. It was as if the castle itself was offering her a choice: to delve deeper into its mysteries, where the truth of her heritage awaited, or to retreat into the safety of the known world. Lyria exchanged a glance with Eldrick and Pip. The weight of her decision pressed upon her, yet the orb's gentle pulse seemed to whisper that destiny was calling her further. "I must see this through," she murmured, determination replacing the remnants of fear. "There is more I must understand about who I am, and what this legacy means for the future of our world." With a nod from Eldrick and a flutter of reassurance from Pip, she stepped toward the newly revealed passage. The corridor beyond was lined with ancient runes that glowed softly under the light of the orb, guiding her forward into the depths of the castle's secrets. Every step resonated with the echoes of those who had come before, and every heartbeat was a drum of destiny marching her toward a truth that was both wondrous and formidable. In the narrow passageway, the air grew denser with magic, as if the very fabric of reality was interwoven with threads of ancient lore. The walls whispered in languages lost to time, and spectral images flickered at the edge of her vision. Visions of forgotten guardians and battles fought in realms beyond mortal ken. Lyria felt the surge of countless lifetimes converging into the singular moment, a tapestry of light and shadow that had been woven long before her existence. Deep within the labyrinth of corridors, the passage opened into a vast, circular chamber. At its center, suspended by unseen forces, floated a luminous crystalline sphere. Its surface was etched with shifting symbols, and it radiated an aura of both serenity and inexorable power. Here, the relic's true purpose revealed itself: to serve as a nexus of the ancient guardian's energy, a catalyst for transformation that could either mend the wounds of the world or plunge it into eternal darkness. As Lyria approached the sphere, the voices of the past swelled in a harmonious crescendo. The chamber pulsed with energy, and the orb in her hand synchronized with the crystalline sphere's rhythm. The connection was unmistakable. This was the culmination of her journey, a moment where destiny, heritage, and the timeless struggle between light and dark converged. In that charged silence, a series of visions cascaded through her mind. She saw the faces of her ancestors, their eyes filled with hope and sorrow, urging her onward. She witnessed the birth of magic in the world, the primordial clash between elemental forces that shaped the very essence of existence. And at the center of it all stood a figure, a guardian, whose presence radiated a brilliance that eclipsed even the mightiest of storms. The guardian's eyes, deep and knowing, locked onto hers, as if passing the torch of responsibility across the ages. Lyria's hand trembled as she placed the pendant and the orb side by side on a carved stone altar. The crystalline sphere responded with a surge of light that enveloped the chamber, its brilliance casting long shadows that danced like memories along the walls. The light grew, pulsing in a rhythm that matched the beat of her heart, and with it came a silent promise that the cycle of despair would yield to hope, and that even in the depths of darkness, the spark of life could ignite a radiant dawn. In that pivotal moment, as the chamber hummed with the energy of millennia, Lyria felt the true weight and wonder of her destiny. The relic, the runes, the ancient guardians, and the legacy of light were all intertwined with her very soul. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with perils, yet unseen, but in her chest burned a quiet resolve to embrace the journey, to face whatever darkness might arise, and to become the beacon that could guide her world back to balance. The echoes of that profound understanding reverberated through the chamber, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the timeless saga. A chapter written not with the ink of despair, but with the luminous promise of renewal. And as the ancient magic surged and receded in waves, Lyria stood poised at the threshold of her destiny, ready to continue her quest into the deeper mysteries that lay hidden beyond the veil of time. So, dear listeners, thank you for joining us on this mystical journey through the whispering woods. As our enchanted adventure draws to a close, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share it with fellow dreamers. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Comment below with ideas for our next story. Let the gentle music guide you into a peaceful slumber, and may you awaken refreshed, ready to embrace the wonders of a new day. Good night.